In 2025, Auburn Tigers football didn't lose because they were outmatched. They lost because college football is ruthless when games live on the edge. 6 losses, every single one by 7 points or fewer. That's not a coincidence. That's a pattern, and patterns tell you where a program really is. This season wasn't about blowouts or embarrassment. It was about pressure moments, late drives, third downs, red zone snaps. The kind of football that exposes exactly how far you are from winning and how close you might be at the same time. Let's start with Oklahoma, a physical, back-and-forth game where Auburn stayed within striking distance the entire night. The defense held up. The offense moved the ball just enough. But one drive in the fourth quarter flips everything. 7 points. Game over. Not because Auburn collapsed, but because Oklahoma executed when it mattered, and Auburn didn't. Then Texas A&M. 6 points. That's it. A defensive slugfest where every yard felt earned. Auburn had chances, field position battles, momentum swings. But in games like that, one missed block, 1 second and long that becomes third and long, changes everything. You don't need to get dominated to lose games like that. You just need to blink. Missouri goes to overtime. That alone tells you the story. Auburn fights for 60 minutes, survives regulation, forces extra football, and still walks away with another one-score loss. Overtime isn't about who's better. It's about who's cleaner. 1 penalty, 1 play call, 1 execution mistake. 6 points later, Auburn's on the wrong side again. Kentucky might be the most revealing game of all. Auburn holds them to 10 points. 10. In today's college football, that should be a win almost every time. But offense stalled. Drives ended early. The margin for error vanished. 7 points decided it. That's not a talent issue, that's an efficiency issue. Then Vanderbilt. Overtime again. Another game where Auburn refuses to fold. Another game where they force extra football. Another game where the result doesn't flip. 7 points. Another tally in the same column. And then the Iron Bowl. 27-20. 1 possession. Against Alabama. On the biggest stage, with the most pressure, Auburn is right there. 1 drive, 1 stop, 1 chance. And again, the margin is 7. That's 6 games where Auburn was never out of it. 6 games where the fourth quarter mattered. 6 games where the season could have gone in an entirely different direction, with just a few moments changing. Here's why this matters. Teams that get blown out usually have structural problems, scheme problems, talent problems, culture problems. Auburn didn't show that in 2025. What Auburn showed was a team learning how to win close games and failing just often enough for it to hurt. Close losses are deceptive. To outsiders, they all look the same in the standings. A loss is a loss. But internally, coaches and players know the truth. 1-score games expose details. How clean your substitutions are. How disciplined your defense is late. Whether your quarterback protects the ball when the game tightens. Whether your staff calls aggressive or conservative in critical moments. Auburn didn't get embarrassed. They got tested. Over and over. And the results were brutal. 6 losses by 7 points or fewer tells you this team lived in the margins. It tells you they weren't ready to consistently finish, but they were close enough that finishing is the next step, not a complete rebuild. That's why seasons like this frustrate fans so deeply. Because every game replays in your head the same way. What if 1 third-down conversion happens? What if 1 red zone possession ends in 7 instead of 3? What if 1 late stop goes differently? Flip just half of those games, 3 of them, and the entire narrative around Auburn in 2025 changes. Bowl positioning changes. Recruiting perception changes. National conversation changes. And that's the danger for the rest of the conference going forward. Teams that learn how to lose close are usually one off-season away from learning how to win close. The gap between 6 one-score losses and 6 one-score wins isn't massive. It's detail-driven. It's situational mastery. 2025 wasn't Auburn falling apart. It was Auburn standing at the door knocking and not getting let in yet. That's why this season matters. Because blowouts tell you who you are. Close losses tell you who you're about to become.